up, Red Raider Nation? Welcome back to episode 4 of the Scarlet and Black Nation podcast. We're your hosts. Almost, Blake. Almost. Yeah. Hey, we are your hosts. I'm TJ Kern. That is Blake Hartsfield. And Blake, the Red Raiders do it again. Get another victory on the season, this time against an opponent we thought was going to give them a tougher test. And maybe they did. The starters actually played 3 quarters in this game. But the Red Raiders defeat the Oregon State Beavers 45-14 on Saturday to improve their record to 3-0. Blake, Baron Morton has played all of, a game and a half-ish?
Yes.
Maybe a little more than a game and a half. He's thrown for almost 1,000 yards. This offense, the aesthetically pleasing offense that I'm seeing out of this team and new offensive coordinator, Matt Leftwich, is where I want to start today. Lots of deep shots, lots of getting the ball to your playmakers. What do you got to say?
I think you just said it, TJ. This offense is explosive. This offense is efficient. They believe in getting the ball down the field and down the field quickly. They want to play with tempo. It's everything we wanted the Zach Kittley offense to be in terms of being explosive, pushing the ball down the field, and they don't run bubble screens. I keep coming back to the no bubble screens. Now, they did run a couple of creative screens, right? They've run a couple of screen passes. They had the fake swing pass to the jailbreak tight end swing.
Now that was beautiful. That reminded me of the Crabtree screen.
That did remind me of the Crabtree jailbreak screen. So that looked great. But no, you got to tip your hat to Barron. He's playing really well. This offense seems to fit what he likes to do. He likes to push the ball down the field. He likes to take deep shots. And TJ, they throw it deep a lot. I think you're going to see more of that this week. We'll get into a little of the stylistic matchup with Utah. But TJ, we talked about it a little bit last week. The thing that I'm most impressed with is they've done what they're supposed to do, right? Good teams should be blowing this schedule away. They've done that through 3 games. And each game they've kind of increased in level in terms of the talent on the other side. And they've continued to answer the bell. And they're scoring a bunch of points, which is great. And they're scoring fast, which is great.
If you told me your last sentence there, they're scoring a bunch of points and they're scoring fast, my mind immediately goes to Texas Tech football. That's what we want.
Yeah, that's the brand.
That's Leach. That's the brand. That's what we grew up with, right?
Kingsbury. Say what you want about Kingsbury and not being able to be a good. He wasn't a good head coach, but he's a great offensive coordinator. His offense has scored a bunch of points. Pat had 800 yards of offense and lost by double digits to Oklahoma. So but you're right. It fits the brand. It screams Texas Tech, and it's exciting to see that back.
Amen to that. But Blake, there's a side of the ball that hasn't gotten a lot of credit in years on this podcast, and that's the defense. And that's because we've kind of earned our right to give it to them a little bit. That being said, Blake, this defense is really good.
Yeah, there's no other way to put
Bryce Pollock with a couple of picks on Saturday.
Yeah, TJ, this starting defense through 3 games has not allowed a point. That's what a lot of people don't realize is everything that the Red Raiders have given up through 3 games has been when we've put the backups in. But the starting unit with your big defensive line and the rotation on the defensive line that you would expect to see with the first unit, when they've had the starting secondary in the back, when they've had Rodriguez in the middle of the field, they've yet to surrender a point in 3 games. Now, again, I know we've talked about it a lot. The competition has not been the greatest, but TJ, if you shut out 3 teams in a row with your first team defense like that, I don't care who you're playing, right? Like Ohio State gave up, 16 points to Ohio this weekend. Iowa State just went on the road and kind of squeaked by an Arkansas State team. So it happens, right? These teams can score, and the Red Raiders aren't even giving them an inch. They've yet to surrender a point in 3 games. So it's unbelievable. This defensive line is as advertised. We've talked a lot about them. They get pressure. TJ, they're not getting home a ton. But I did see something after the game on Saturday that through 3 games. They're getting a ton of pressures. They're not getting home a ton, but the 3 teams that Tech has played have averaged the quickest getting rid of the football of any team in the country. So the Red Raiders are forcing opposing quarterbacks to get rid of the ball so fast. It's helping the back end. They're generating pressure, and I think you'll see the sacks start to get to come home, so to speak, once other teams start trying to actually push the ball down the field a little bit against this defense and get routes that develop.
And then, not to be overlooked, man, this kind of turning the page back to the offense. How about this trio of Aiken, Williams, Carter? Actually, there's 4 of them, and Payday Douglas out there making plays. Jacoby Williams is a playmaker out of the backfield, man.
He is. He's explosive, man. They can throw it to him. They can hand it to him. It seems like he's kind of wrestling the job, the starting job. I know this is going to be, and the coaches will still tell you it's a 50-50 split, but it feels like Jacoby Williams' backfield, doesn't it? I mean, not that Dickey isn't going to play a role, but it kind of feels like Jacoby has separated himself a little bit here. In terms of the all-purpose back. Dickey might be a little bit more between the tackles for him, but and you hit the nail on the head. Those receivers and that tight end group. I mean, Baron Morton's like a kid in a candy shop, right? He's got everything he could want. He's got his possession receiver in Eakin. He's got a red zone threat in Virgil and a deep threat in Payday Douglas, and all 3 of them can go deep. But it's exciting to watch, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how this translates as they start playing Big 12 caliber competition.
And I saw something on Twitter that Terrence Carter Jr.'s already exceeded Mac Leftwich's tight end production or something.
He's never had a weapon.
He normally doesn't have one.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about him last week. He's a very unique matchup, right? I mean, he's 245 pounds. He runs like a running or like a wide receiver. He's shifty like a running back. I mean, just get it. TJ, how many teams are calling jailbreak screens for tight ends in the country? Okay, like you only call that kind of a play for somebody that you want to get the ball in space to, and they're calling it for the tight end. That should speak volumes about how talented he is.
And back on the other side of the ball, Romello Height, Ben Roberts, Cole Wisniewski leading the way with tackles, multiple tackles apiece. And, man, that unit again is what I'm excited to see play this weekend. Big noon kickoff, Blake. Best on best, as Joey McGuire called it, as the O-line for the Utah Utes going to take on this defensive line for the Red Raiders. At big noon kickoff, you know what that means, Blake. 10 a.m. kickoff in Utah means Gus Johnson, my guy, going to be on the call. Means It's a big game, Blake, and the rankings reflect it.
Yeah.
Both teams moved up in the rankings. Blake, we're getting number 16 Utah versus number 17 Texas Tech.
I'm excited, TJ. We'll get into some of the nuances. You highlighted the battle in the trenches, and I talked a little bit about that back when we did our schedule prediction before the season. What is exciting to me, TJ, is that in this new era of Texas Tech football, I know we didn't have a new coach, but when I say new era, this era of we're going to out-recruit everybody. We're going to throw our NIL resources around and our oil money around and have the most talented roster in the conference. They're getting an opportunity 4 games in to go and announce themselves to the country, right? For 3 years under Joe McGuire, we've gotten the Kool-Aid, and every time that we've expected it, they've fallen on their face, right? Whether it was Washington State on the road or it was Wyoming or it was not, they played good against Oregon, but they couldn't quite get over the line. I know they've had signature wins, and I know that he's got the program turning in the right direction, but with the resources that have been poured into this organization, into this team, this program, with the expectations of the fan base locally, and even with all the players, you've heard a lot of our conference foes like the TCU, Baylor, et cetera. People, oh, it's Texas Tech. They'll find a way to screw it up. It doesn't matter, right? Like this is your opportunity to say this is a new team, this is a new program, and we're not going to do what we've done in the past. We're going to arrive and announce ourselves on a national stage.
And I saw a tweet from an Oklahoma State fan that was going around Tech Twitter today. Don't know if you saw it or not. It basically said that you better get Texas Tech now, because this is going to be the least talented Texas Tech team that we're going to have for a long time. And I read that tweet, retweeted it, and smiled. I was like, man, we are scaring folks.
Have you looked at our last 8 commitments? They're all 4 and 5 stars.
Right.
Just today, the lead national recruiter guy for 0-3 was talking about, like, we're collecting defensive 4-star and 5-star defensive linemen like infinity stones. Like, there's like 3 others that we're in on that are all, top 50 players, and we're favorites on all of them. We're the favorite on Kavian Bryant. I mean, it's he's right. I mean, you better get us now, but I'm not willing to wait. Let's go and announce ourselves. Let's send a message to the rest of this league that, hey, what Joey said 3 years ago when we beat Texas, that everything runs through Lubbock. Everything runs through Lubbock in this conference. So I'm excited, TJ. It's a huge opportunity. I'm not going to call it a must-win from the perspective of, even if you lose this game, you've got an opportunity. We talked about it last week on the schedule, where if you just take care of business, even with a loss here, you're probably still playing in the Big 12 championship game, unless somebody like TCU runs the table who you don't play. And while I think TCU is a contender, I don't think they're going to run the table. I think it's a must-win from the perspective of, if you want to walk around and act like the program that they've been acting like, and they talk about being the program that they want to be, you got to win this game.
Absolutely, dude. And not only do you have to win this game has to be a clean game, right? Have to go in there in a bad environment. Well, not bad environment, a tough environment on the road. You have to be disciplined, right? Something they've had trouble with on the road. You've got a senior quarterback leading the way. This is your moment. Big noon kickoffs there. They already love Texas Tech. They love Lubbock. They've been boosting us up, right? Brady Quinn sits down with Baron Morton. I saw a little preview of that floating around Twitter today for Saturday. We talked about everything runs through Lubbock, right? In the Big 12, that has to start on Saturday. But boy, you take care of business on Saturday, the nation's going to find out everything's starting to run through Lubbock.
You win this game, TJ, I think you will shoot up the rankings to, you might crack the top 10. If not, you're going to be 11 or 12. But again, to me, it's less about the short-term ranking and less about the short-term high of winning a big road game and starting 1-0 in the Big 12. That's what Joey's going to tell you it is about. It's about going 1-0 in the league, and that's the mindset they should have. But I'm looking at it from a 10,000-foot view, right? I'm not in the trenches with Joey.
Do that as well.
Yeah, I'm not in the trenches with Joey. I'm not in that practice in that locker room every day in and day out, right? I get that they've got to take things, and they should. But again, when you've made as many headlines as you've made, you've signed it, you've continued to sign even after this transfer portal, as many guys as you've signed, and these blue chip this, blue chip that, great player this, great player that. You talk a big game, you got to win this game, because if you don't win this game, you're going to, I'm not saying that it's the same old Tech, but you're going to have to listen to that for at least another 2 to 3 weeks until you go to Tempe to play Arizona State on the road, right? So again, it's an opportunity to announce yourself on a national stage, to say, hey, this isn't all just, throwing money around and we're just going to be okay with mediocre. Like, no, we're here to contend for national championships. We're here to be the powerhouse of the Big 12 in a league that desperately needs one, right? To be a flagship on a national scene. And for the sake of the conference, and this is going to come off very biased as a Tech fan, obviously, but like Tech becoming that program and getting that national respect because of the recruiting, right? If you start to back it up on paper, is only going to help the Big 12. to get more than one team into the league, or not have to fight to get just one team into the playoff every year. So it's a huge game. It's a huge opportunity, and I hope they're ready for it.
When we did our prediction show, I thought it was going to be the biggest game of the year, and it's definitely the biggest game of the year up to date. But then you look at Houston's unranked, Kansas unranked, Arizona State unranked, Oklahoma State unranked, Kansas State unranked, BYU unranked, UCF unranked, and West Virginia unranked. These are the only two teams that are on your schedule that are ranked in the Big 12 right now.
TJ, there's only three. It's these two and Iowa State, and that's it. So a lot of people are saying this could be the game of the year in the league. A lot of people think it's a preview of a rematch that's coming in Arlington. I think all of these are strong possibilities. Let's get into the X's and O's a little bit, because I definitely want to do that. You highlighted the battle in the trenches, and I talked about it a little bit back when we did our schedule pick. I think that the number one thing that's going to jump off the screen and will be a huge indicator of who is going to win this football game is the battle between the top 5 in the country offensive line, that is Utah, right, against the top 5 defensive line in the country of Texas Tech. Utah's got 2 tackles, TJ, that, boy, they're bad dudes. These guys are both going to be first-round picks in the NFL draft next year. They've got some big guards that are mean and nasty. They love to establish the run with both their quarterback and their running back. I'm so interested to see this micro matchup, right? One, can this defensive line be disciplined enough on first and second down to not take the cheese, right? And get baited into big gashing runs off play action, or off of zone reads and things like that. They've got to be disciplined and stay in their lanes. And then, when they get to a pass rushing situation, a 3rd and 5 or longer, where they're going to force Dampier to throw the football, can Bailey and Romello Height get past these two and generate pressure on these 2 tackles that are outstanding? And even if they don't, can the guys up the middle make a push to make up for that? So that's the game within the game. They need to soak up double teams and let Rodriguez fly around and be great against the run. But I'm so excited to see this matchup.
I mean, I wish it was right now. I was going to say tomorrow, but I wish it was right now. The fact that I have to go through 3 more work days to get to this game as we record on Tuesday night is not making me too happy. But Blake, this is what we signed up for. These are the types of matchups that we were looking for in the new Big 12. Utah coming in at Utah, big noon kickoff. It's going to be a 10 a.m. kick local time.
I think that helps Tech.
That's 11 a.m. for the Red Raiders. It's a 10 a.m. local kick for Utah. Going to be interesting to see who comes out first, who throws the first punch. Speaking of the fight last weekend with Canelo and Crawford, that started too late. I was falling asleep. I'm an old man.
Yeah, the timing helps Tech. I mean, it's no different than playing at home at noon, right, on the East Coast, because you're playing at 11. So, your body clock is going to be the same for the Red Raiders. It is early for Utah. I also talked about it last week. I think you'll see a stadium that isn't going to be as rowdy and tough to play at as it would be at night, which I think helps Tech. But Tech's got to show up.
Definitely have to show up. And this is where we definitely have the horses offensively and defensively. This is where I want to see the coaching staff come out and see what they're made of. I don't want to see a bunch of penalties, right? I want to see a well-called game. I don't want to see any stupid fake punts, fake this, fake that, deep in your zone, right? If you're going to go for it on 4th down, have some conviction and have it be close to the 50-yard line. And that's it. And then we'll see who wins the game. But man, I'm excited, Blake. This is going to be a fun one here on the Scarlet and Black Nation podcast with TJ and Blake. And man, I know Utah's tough. I know Dampier's on some early Heisman lists, but our guy Baron Morton's starting to get a little national love. He hit the Davey O'Brien Award top 8 watch list or something like that, and he wasn't even in the top 6 quarterbacks in the Big 12. Wasn't in, as I'm doing my air quotes, wasn't in the top 6 Big 12 quarterbacks to start the season, which we thought was total crap.
Yeah, 100%.
So, man, I know that you got a couple of kids you're trying to get to bed. I know I'm an old man, so I know I'm tired. Blake, I'm just ready for Saturday. Looking forward to it. You're gonna give me your Blake Hartsfield score prediction this week.
I will, TJ. The Utah's Vegas. Blake will tell you that Utah opened as a 3.5 point favorite at home, which means that Vegas basically thinks it's a pick 'em on a neutral field. TJ, I've gone. I mean, I at the beginning of the season, I picked this to be a win. I said that this was the one team in the conference that could match you in the trenches, and I think that goes both ways on both lines, right? I said that I thought that the Red Raiders had an advantage on the outside with the speed and skill groups. I still believe that. When the Red Raiders have the ball, it's stylistically it's going to be really interesting because Utah likes to try to compress the field. They like to try to choke the run off. They do like to come up and get after you on the outside and play man, which means that you're going to have opportunities to take shots right over the top. I think Utah will combat that a little bit. And one of the things that I think is going to be really interesting is a defense that I think Utah is going to deploy is I think they're going to put an extra linebacker down in the box. I think they're going to have both safeties shade over the top to try to take away the deep ball while still taking away the run. Well, what part of the field does that leave open, TJ, when you do that? If you have two high safeties taking away over the top and helping with the corners and you pinch an extra linebacker in to stop the run, what area of the field can you attack?
Oh, the middle.
Over the middle, 10 to 12 yards. This is a Terrence Carter game. This is a Carter game. I think that he is going to be the best player on the offense on this week just because of I think how the game is going to unfold. Obviously, you need it to be Baron Morton, but best skill player I think is going to be Carter. Defensively, I think the keys for the Red Raiders are, Utah is going to try to shorten the game. They're going to try to take the air out of the ball, right, with these long, clock grinding, run the ball, try to wear you out. And the Red Raiders have got a wave of, we've talked about the wave of guys on the defensive line they can keep fresh. TJ, it comes down to two things. On third down, when you get them to 3rd and 5 or longer, and you force Dampier to have to throw the ball, the Red Raiders have got to get off the field more than 50% of the time. And then on 3rd and short, so 3rd and 4 or shorter, they got to get off the field a quarter of the time. So if you can do hit both of those numbers, and then when Utah goes on these drives, and you saw it in the first half of the Wyoming game this past week where they struggled a little bit, they figured it out in the second half, but they settled for some field goals in Wyoming. If you can make them drive the length of the field, right, and settle for field goals, stiffen up in the red zone, you can win this football game. All of that being said, give me the Red Raiders 27-23. I think this is a lower scoring game. I think the total is like 56.5 or 57. I think this is a lower scoring game. Both teams are going to be stepping up in competition immensely from both of their schedules. I think Utah's style, even though the Red Raiders want to snap the ball as many times as they can, Utah wants to take the air out of the football. So give me the Red Raiders in a lower scoring 27-23 tough road win.
Tough road win for the Red Raiders is what Vegas Blake has to say. Blake, man, we appreciate you as always. Go back to being dad there with the newborn and the kiddos, and I'll go back to bed because I'm old.
You're not that much older than me, my friend. You're not that much older than me.
Yeah, it's all good. We're looking forward to talking to you guys next week after this Utah game and seeing what the Red Raiders do. But, Blake, how do we always get out of here?
Wreck 'em.
We'll talk to you guys next time on the Scarlet Black Nation podcast.